Hey guys, it's Matt. This video will be pretty much the greatest opportunity in the world to lose about 5,000 subscribers. The only channel in the world that I don't want to lose subscribers, but I don't mind losing subscribers, and I think the integrity of the comments is that's the reason I do this. The other reason I do this is it does help me really organize my thoughts. Once I get talking like this, I tend to think of things during this talk that I would never have think about on my own, or think deeply about. So talking this stuff out really helps me as well. But I don't, the comment section is really important. So if we're going to have two major forks in the road, two major rifts are going to be created in this video. And based on all the comments I've read, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5,000 people won't accept what I'm saying. Won't, even if they disagree with it, they won't be big enough to accept it. Now the channel, this channel will be based on these things going forward. So if you can't accept these things, there's no reason to continue watching, because the basis, in order for me to try to progress and figure out what is the nature of this reality, if it's crossing a river, I have to throw a stone down and step on it. And maybe it's incorrect, but for now we got to throw the stone. And if it's not a stone that's going to fit your stride or whatever, you shouldn't stay with this channel. So here's the big one. Well, I guess they're both big, but here's the first one. Okay, it relates to what I said, I think, in the last video or 2 videos back. It relates to the fact, my strong belief. It's ignorant to ever say 100%. It would be close to 100% because we don't know. Nobody has definitive answers on every facet of the nature of reality, so it's ignorant to say 100%, but it's very close. I'm convinced, and I just don't understand why a segment of people don't see this the way I do, or I think the way most of you do. But based on what I said in the last video, I'm convinced that this reality hijack, or all the manipulation and just everything we're surrounded with, malevolency, the sinister nature of those in control, people we call puppet masters, it is not of men. Okay, I would say, I don't know, from all the comments I've gotten, even in this community, maybe about, I don't know, a fifth, I would say, or a tenth, they just would never, they can't accept that it's something else is going on. And it just has to be, the puppet masters have to be men. Obviously men and women, but I'm saying it like the old-fashioned way, of men. You know what I'm saying? Dick Cheney went into that back room, and it was just a Rothschild, and it's just of men, But I'm so far past that at this point, and it's based on what I said in the last video. I could talk for 24 hours straight about the reality breakdowns, and just men. Obviously, that includes women. I won't say that again, but I like saying of men. They can't pull off, decade after decade or century after century, every single hoax and ruse and conspiracy and false flag and false history. And everything breaks down. Like I said, when you look at it closely, everything in this reality breaks down. What is oil? Well, it's likely not what they say. Now we see fossils can be made very, very quickly. It doesn't take millions of years. And evolution from monkeys, a ridiculous story that breaks down in the first 5 minutes you look at it. And all the fake events and false flags and fake shootings, they keep pulling them off because the masses, 99%, believe them. We see the ridiculousness of many of the fake events, but you just can't doing, what is space? what is real about it, what's fake about it. A lot about it, or all of it, is fake. You can't just keep doing this. See what I'm saying? Decade after decade, century after century, everything breaks down as being faux, false, pseudo. It's not possible. Okay, men can't protect this ruse. They can't create the ruse. It gets back to, I mean, some of the most ignorant comments that I thought were ignorant way back when, considering everything that's being pulled off in every single slice. They're pulling off this gigantic reality ruse in every single, like I said in the last video, just throw a dart into a topic and no, that's total bullshit. That's total bullshit. And no, I don't, in these areas, there's just too much gut feeling, there's too much common sense behind it. I'm not convinced that I'm wrong about this. And I'm not the only one saying it. This whole community is analyzing different facets of the reality that they present to us, and different facets of this community are saying, well, this is what I investigate, and it's total bullshit. And now we've got people investigating something called mud floods, and what they're basically saying is the history that it's presented to us in the mid-1800s is bullshit because something really major happened. And you'll see where I'm going with this. And these people investigate this part of reality, and then guess what their conclusion is? Are you surprised? It's what they're telling us is bullshit again. All you different reality researchers, and then the flat earthers are in this in terms of what identifying the NASA lies. Say there's a giant classroom and say, raise your hand, all you reality researchers in your different areas of expertise, and raise your hand if you found the official story to be bullshit. And everybody in the class would raise their hand and say, yeah, I found the official story to be bullshit. But at the same time, everybody around us believes it. You'd have to be crazy to say, come to the conclusions that class came to, that you come to on many things. And you think that's a chemtrail? Planes have been doing that our whole lives. The point is, again, regular people couldn't be doing this decade after decade, century after century, who knows, lifetime after lifetime. Okay? It's not of men. Here's the fork in the road. If you believe it's just, maybe that's why, if you believe just people, just guys and gals and secret societies doing this to us, then you have no reason to stay at this channel. To me, it's something else. And everything is on the table. But I favor Matrix. I favor people that say there was an organic reality, something fucked with it, virus, Matrix, simulation, illusion, reality overlay. That is all. Everything's on the table, but that is what I would put that in the number one slot. It's just overwhelming to me that this is some sort of. I don't like using the word over and over. We all say Matrix, 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 Matrix. I'm sick of it. But what else are you going to say? It is overwhelming to me that something like that is going on in our reality. So again, if you think just people are doing it, this is what Matt, you idiot. Don't you know what the Freemasons are and the secret societies and the Illuminati, and we have nothing in common really at this point, because I think it's ridiculous to say that people could pull this stuff off. 1,000 events, 1,000 false flags, 1,000 hoaxes. The reasons for World War II. Here's what the history book says. What'd you find? Oh, I found that's total bullshit. Everything's bullshit. That's not possible if things are not complete, if things are just of men. So maybe a few thousand people should unsub, because I don't. Maybe it's not that many people that believe just people are doing this to us, and Freemasons and secret societies. I mean, maybe that's one of the main reasons all the secret societies and the Freemasons and all these different groups and the Rosicrucians, and the list goes on and on and on, and Bohemian Grove. Maybe the reason all of these ideas are presented to us because it instills in us that regular people can do it, men can do it. That's what every pure Bohemian Grove in our face from Alex Jones. It implies to us that if you can get to the final curtain and look behind, it's just the people that go to Bohemian Grove. It's not interdimensional aliens. It's not demons. It's not an AI, artificial intelligence that's overlaid our reality. It's not Satan. I mean, it's not demiurge. It's not. It's just of men. And most people that believe it's of men, they believe the same thing, that they worship Satan. But it's not of men. I think that is almost ridiculous at this point, because if you've gone to into the number of rabbit holes that I have, you just haven't gone into many rabbit holes, because three or four or five rabbit holes, you could say they could pull those off. But when you're into 300, 400, 500 rabbit holes to one degree or another, well, people can't pull that off time after time after time. So you understand what I'm saying. That's number one. Number two is, and I'll just put it back on the table because it's going to become part of my discussions on the potential nature of a simulated reality that we are somehow stuck in. I don't think, well, I flip-flop back and forth, but I don't, between this is something that is, this reality has been corrupted, bastardized, adulterated, hijacked, and then I also, tomorrow I might flip back and say, well, we created it that way. We created a horrible reality on purpose so we could have a learning experience. We're responsible for it. Whether it's an experiment that got out of control, or this is exactly the sort of mini hellish experience that we're supposed to have to actually learn something. So I do flip-flop back and forth. Even though the Your Soul versus the System series talks about, the controllers or the puppet masters of this world actually potentially are doing exactly or playing the role that they're intended to play. So we notice it, so we can learn from it, so we can see what not to do. So the point is, in this second part, if I'm going to continuously talk about some sort of a reality simulation gone bad, then I am going to talk about the Mandela effect. Oh, let's lose a few more thousand people, be triggered. It does amaze me, and I've said this many times, I'll say it one last time here. It does amaze me how many people in this community, even people that will keep reality simulation and matrix and holographic universe potentially that was corrupted on the table, they will actually keep that on the table and poo-poo the Mandela effect. And this has just been perplexing for me. So you believe there's a decent chance that this is a reality simulation of some kind, hijacked or whatever, different theories, but you basically think the Mandela affected people are nuts, or they're misremembering. And well, how could you take serious stock in a reality simulation, and then the people that say I have evidence that it's a reality simulation, you're crazy. It doesn't. But there's a lot of people do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Again, I think the wise man or wise woman approach to that would be more along the lines of acceptance of what's being said, not just belief, but trying to understand. Boy, you guys talk about all these changes and reality changing and right before your eyes, and like movie lines, and I don't see any of that. I see it, but somebody might say I don't see any of this. But the people saying it, now what is it? It's in the thousands of people saying it, and I don't know, like you guys. And people like Matt have some really interesting theories and have really had a keen eye into pulling forth or exposing the reality script over the years. So I don't see it, but I'm going to keep it on the table as being possible. That's a reasonable approach, but you never get that with the Mandela effect. You get people triggered, and so let's lose a few more thousand subscribers. Why would I care? I care about really one thing: the integrity of the comment section. So if you believe just regular guys and gals can throw their puppet strings out and do all this shit for centuries, which to me at this point I'll say, what's your threshold? We're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of events past the threshold of what any normal people could do, no matter what group, no matter what Trilateral Commission or Bilderberger Group or Bohemian Grove Group or Council on Foreign Relations Group. Right? All these groups are groups of men. Potentially, that's part of the reality construct to get people to think regular people can do all this shit. That could be part of the reality construct itself, if you see what I'm saying. And then we have, on top of that, we have Mandela effect. So I'm going to continue to talk about these sorts of things. So now would be the time to unsubscribe. I want the integrity of the comment section. And somebody might be saying, well, Matt, that's not really fair. If I'm the integrity of the comment section, if I disagree with you in all these areas, then I could actually be able to leave a comment, of course, saying you're totally wrong about this and that. Which, if you want to leave a comment about how I'm wrong on those two major areas that I'm introducing here, the forks in the road, please do so. But these are the building blocks, the basis, the foundation stones on which I'm going to try to continue being a reality junkie, can continue my investigation into the nature of reality. These are my first two major stepping stones. That this is none of it is real, totally hijacked, totally artificial. And if in other words, an artificial hijacked reality can do whatever it wants. It can show the evidence of this is just overwhelming at this point to me. It can show flat earthers all the evidence in if it was, just picture literally like the movie The Architect and the Oracle, and they're working together in the Machine City or the Matrix. They could say, yeah, show these flat earthers tons and tons of evidence that it's flat, and at the same time show all these university professors and globies that it's a globe. Show them conflicting evidence at the same time, because I'm the architect of the Matrix, ergo I can do this. I can fuck over both y'all. So you fight with each other. So if it's a Matrix, they can do whatever they want. But the Matrix, if it is a Matrix and you're stuck in a computer program or something like it, it's not going to be like that, as simple as the movie presented. But it's going to have severe limitations. If we are these all-powerful creator beings and all the stuff we've heard, we're going to be able to poke holes in this simulation, and that's what we're doing all day long, is poking holes in it. So I'm sure I just triggered 1,000 flat earth people. Why is it so unreasonable to suggest that the system can show both sides what it wants to see at the same time? Well, Matt, there's no evidence at all that it's a globe. Zero. I agree that there's tons of evidence on your side. You guys have for years have been going out to the lake with your lasers and saying curvature models, total bullshit. I'll admit everything NASA does is a lie. I'm with you on all that. But don't say there's just every single university professor in the world has been hoodwinked because there's zero evidence. It's a ball. There's no math. There's no nothing. It's just amazing. Every astrophysicist professor at the University of Indiana, Cal Berkeley, Oxford, University of Argentina, all of them are hoodwinked. They're all just, maybe they are hoodwinked. Of course, if in a matrix reality, that can happen. But don't say that the matrix hasn't presented these people any evidence other than some book saying it's a ball. I don't know what it is, but there would have to be tremendous evidence, mostly related to math and things like that. Of course, there has to be. Thousands and thousands of university professors just completely, there's no evidence at all. The evidence is likely on both sides, in conflict with, of course it's in conflict with each other, because the flat earthers can almost never convert this group over here that believe it's a ball, the people that teach at universities. I'm in the middle. I say I don't know what this reality is. I like to look at evidence on all sides. I think a matrix can serve up whatever dog do on plates and serve the plates to both groups at the same time. I think my what I'm offering is actually the most reasonable, because how do you explain all the evidence is on one side, and they have great evidence, but these people do too. And the people on the university professors that are just, the Stephen Hawking eggheads, and all the people that are in astronomy and all that, well, they're not fair either. They not only do they poo-poo all the evidence of the flat Earth, they laugh at all the experiments, and it should not be laughed at. The flat earthers, in my opinion, have proven that at least the globe calculation of so many inches drop off per mile is completely bullshit. So, again, I don't understand why people in this community are not, even if you don't buy what I'm saying, why the attitude is not, I'll just, this guy's, been doing this a long time, and he has a lot of good things to say over the years. I'll keep it on the table, even though I don't agree with Matt on this. I'll keep it on the table. But like Mandela affected people will tell you how triggered people are, and let's just talk about that for a little bit, because you just people even in this community, if they don't have anchor effect changes, and I've said it this way many times, then it's just not that they're not even reasonable about it. They don't say, God, these guys are smart in a lot of areas, and this Matt's pulled a lot of great stuff over the years, but I don't see it, but maybe, I don't know, just kind of keep it on the table. No, they get angry. They to me, it's they're pulling forth a script of some kind. They're regurgitating a script. The script of this reality is, you don't see the Mandela effect, get triggered, get angry, call names. But see, that's the same script that's regurgitated when that person who sees chemtrails, or is a flat earther, or is another type of reality researcher, presents that evidence to their friends, family, and neighbors. Those people, what do? They get angry, they call names, they don't want to see it, they act funny. So that the people in our community do the same thing to the Mandela affected group that you don't want done to you for presenting your evidence. It's the height of hypocrisy. And I've been saying this for years. So, look, again, when you have endless hoaxes, false flags, whatever, it's not just regular old people doing it. Now, who's doing it? I don't know. But it's not regular old people in secret society sitting around on a long oak wooden or cherry boardroom tables sipping cognac. It's something else. It's who knows what it is. What could overlay our reality with some sort of matrix and screw us over? And I don't know. But the point going forward is, if that's your basis of reality, then you have to say, for now, I'm going to assume that that's what's going on. And if that's what's going on, then what are my options? What can I do about it if that's what I think is going on? And I mean, if you just look at, if you're in a matrix of some kind, an artificial construct, no matter how real everything is or how much of a simulation or illusion, again, people that are at the highest levels of being aware and awake, it does start to break down. You turn on the news, it's just ridiculous bullshit. You see Donald Trump parading around, and you look at it for 5 seconds, and you go, that's not a real person elected. It's a freaking joke. It's an actor. It's a joke. You walk by a TV, and there's some Supreme Court nominee, like, I don't know, like disrespecting the members of Congress, and you go, that's not real. You can see through it in a second. But then it's beyond that. The universe itself. We're supposed. Many people think everything's real, everything's solid, everything. But we live in some universe where they don't. There's well, what's the end of it? Where's the outer edge? Where's the outer wall? It's supposed to be infinite, but then it's not infinite. Well, don't you know, Matt? It came from a big bang, an explosion. That's ridiculous in of itself. Nonsensical, completely absurd. Big bang. I mean, they actually try to tell us that all the matter in the universe was fit something 100 million times smaller than a pinhead. This freaking Kit Kat wrapper couldn't fit on a pinhead, let alone all the freaking matter in the universe. I've taken dumps in the toilet that couldn't fit on a pinhead, let alone all the matter in the universe and rocks and Mount Everest. And give me a break. It all came from that. Well, Matt, don't you know that matters? It was energy. Oh, okay, really? That makes it okay. Now I can sleep easy at night. And it wasn't matter at that point; it was energy. Oh, okay. Thanks for explaining that. It's absurd because then you have then it all blowed up. It blowed up. That's what these scientists tell us. What a bunch of retards! These scientists that actually take this stuff seriously. It just blowed up. Because it goes against their own principles. The principle of entropy. Principle of entropy. Everything in the universe goes towards a state of chaos. Nothing goes naturally over time. Along the linear scale of time and space, nothing goes towards order. Everything goes towards chaos. And the greatest example that they always use in science is you have a nice wine glass in your cupboard. At some point, you might drop that wine glass. When it was a wine glass, it had order. It had a purpose. It had beauty. But then you dropped it and it shattered into 1,000 pieces. And you could sit and stare at those pieces for trillions and trillions of years. And no matter what the wind conditions or what the weather or whatever, those pieces are never going to go back again over time and make that wine glass again. So it went towards the state of entropy, towards chaos, towards disorder. And that's how the universe works, Matt. Oh, really? So we went from the moment of the way you say, Mr. Stephen Hawking, that the universe was created, the Big Bang, it all blowed up, which is the highest state of chaos imaginable to any person. The highest state of chaos imaginable is the moment of the Big Bang. And that went towards impossible order of human life itself. It violates your own principles, you egghead, idiot, moronic, retarded university professors. It violates your own principles. Get your thumb out of your ass. I mean, come on. So then well, what's the universe expanding into? It just, there has to be an outer edge because it all blowed up. Well, what's it? Okay, at some point the Hubble telescope can see light that's billions of years old. What's it going into? It doesn't. It's much more easy to believe that because all this shit breaks down, there's no common sense to any of it. That these are the limitations of the fake construct that somehow we're in, or we've been put in, or we're here for a learning experience. But it's limitations of the video game. It's limitations of the fake construct. That's why everything breaks down. There are people that theorize that we were put into this fake scenario relatively recently. Maybe on 9/11. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I don't take anything like that off the table because to me, maybe I just didn't think it through properly when I was in my early 20s or early 30s, and maybe I just didn't think anything through, but everything seemed a lot more real to me. Maybe back then I had an explanation of what the universe was that was much better than the limitations of the matrix. This matrix is limited because it doesn't explain anything to our people that are aware and awake, like you and me. It doesn't explain anything to our satisfaction because the more we look at it, it all breaks down as bullshit. So then you get into what one of again the last, to summarize, but I will tie in one more thing, that this is some sort of obvious now. It's a matrix construct. What's your threshold? Well, I'm thousands and thousands of miles past my threshold of what any normal people could do, or puppet masters, people that go home and sit down on the pot and take a shower and you wear deodorant. No, okay. So I don't know what's doing it. But one of the things it does, and I don't see how anything other than a matrix type system can do this, is it offers up endless rabbit holes. We know that. Just when we think we got this figured out, even something as rudimentary as like the JFK assassination, there'll be another twist that we didn't know about, or something will come up. Like, for example, I was looking into my videos. I was looking at, you've watched them maybe the last few weeks. Remember why Jackie kept wearing the bloody dress. I was saying but what relates to this video is I said to myself, I've never been a hardcore JFK researcher, but I thought I've never seen these series of pictures. Or I never saw the picture of Jackie with the blood all over her stockings, which was taken 3 or 4 hours after the event. And again, I don't think it's real. I don't think there was any blood or any real. I think it's all fake. I don't think anything about JFK is real. I'm not somebody that'll get into that there were other shooters or no, there weren't any shooters. I don't know if it's a movie set or what it is. It's a ridiculous construct. Even go watch the Abraham. You have there's in the Kennedy to Lincoln, Abe Lincoln to John F. Kennedy synchronicities, of which there are 30 or more impossible synchronicities, which by itself almost proves this is a ridiculous matrix reality. Nothing's real. In all of those synchronicities and impossible coincidences, you go research it. I mean, it's one in billions that there could be so many similarities between the Abe Lincoln assassination and the Kennedy assassination, which to me means both are constructs and neither likely happened. That again, you have Abraham Zapruder. So I was going to say, go watch the Abraham Zapruder, whatever his name is. Go watch his interview just a few hours after the event. I mean, for those that can really see and read the Matrix code, you look at this and this is a joke. It's a scripted. It's a bad high school play. It's not as bad as the Mike Kronk, my buddy, interview on ABC News the night of what event out west, but it's just hour after JFK has been assassinated, and the local reporter or anchorman of the local Dallas news station, he's got a phone and he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, it's all being done on the fly live because Kennedy assassinated, so there's no protocol and no formality. And who do we have here? We have this guy Abraham Zapruder was able to film it, and Zapruder just gets in there and he's a total clown. And he takes over the interview a little bit, and he tries to appear like he's upset about what happened, and it totally comes off like a bad Robbie Parker. It's a joke. So that event didn't happen. But what was my point? My point is, oh boy, the point is everything breaks down. Excuse me, if you research it closely enough. I don't even know if that was my point, but I'm on a total rant. I lost my train of thought. But I do remember the main point. The main point is the endless rabbit holes. Yeah, the endless rabbit holes if you look closely enough. So, really when I saw mud floods, and I'm not saying the mud flood researchers or conspiracy or us, I'm not saying they're not good people trying to get to the bottom of something. I said to myself, but because the research seems totally real. These pictures seem completely real. Mid-1800s, these giant buildings surrounded by tons of dirt and piled up mud. And it does appear that something happened. But the first thing I said to myself was, are you surprised there's another conspiracy to chase in this community? And I'm not surprised. Greg, are you surprised there's something else to chase? No, that's what this reality does. And at the end of that, it will serve up another rabbit hole. It will serve up endless rabbit holes. That's what it does. Until people go, you're about to put their head into another hole, and went, I just stuck my head in these 50 holes. It didn't really get me anywhere. I'm just more confused. What it did get me is I can see the official story of what the hole is total bullshit. It says the hole is full of gold. That's what the official story is. And every time I put my head in the hole, it's full of, this one's full of rabbit shit. This one's full of squirrel shit. This one's full of beaver shit. So the official story is bullshit. And but now that here's another hole, and it's called mud flood. So what I have the tendency to do is, the Vin Diesel thing from the diner. I don't play this game. I'm not interested in following another pissed-on breadcrumb or looking into another hole. And how can normal men and women in back rooms, in the Council on Foreign Relations, and cousins of Ted Cruz and people like that, can they just plan all this stuff out time after time? So we just, like a bad cartoon, a herd of people, we all run and chase it, in the reality community, we just run and chase the latest rabbit hole. We need to go, I don't play this game. Homie, don't play that. Whack. And say, well, what sort of puppet master can orchestrate these endless rabbit holes? Well, nothing human. Call it whatever you want. Call it, it's, again, I'm going to, without lack of better terms, I doubt we'll ever see behind the final curtain. It's something like the Matrix, architect, ergo this, ergo that. It's something not real. It's a construct. It's that's the only thing that can serve up endless rabbit holes and endless pissed on breadcrumbs. And so in that regard, if people that poo-poo the Mandela effect, they'd say, yeah, you're just chasing the latest thing. Well, interesting. Maybe. But I also get the sense that maybe it's something we put there. We laid a breadcrumb for ourselves, potentially. Okay? So, yeah. But see, so from a Mandela effect perspective, what's the difference? If they can manipulate reality, or whoever is involved in this matrix reality construct can manipulate reality in many different ways. For example, give flat Earth and globe Earth evidence on both sides, so no side ever gets traction. They're both given. They get evidence that supports both sides at the same time, which is impossible if you're measuring a real thing. If this reality is completely real, and this is whatever this is completely real, you measure it, you with a ruler, you get length times width. You couldn't have then hand the ruler to someone else and I got 8 inches, I got 3 feet on the same measurement. But if it's a matrix, that's what it could do to us. So from a Mandela effect perspective, maybe as I said, maybe these are clues we're actually leaving for ourselves. But again, what's the difference? The matrix can manipulate reality to push forth whatever rabbit hole it wants. Then why couldn't the Matrix in a similar way manipulate reality and change the title of a Tom Cruise movie, Interview with a Vampire? That's what the movie that's what the movie was. Okay, I know that for a fact. That's an anchor effect. The movie was 100% Interview with a Vampire. Now it's The Vampire. And they're not all Mandela effects. They're not just about trivial, dashes and Kit Kats and movie lines. There many are far more significant than that. That's just the ones that people tend to talk about. But again, if it's a matrix, so then the movie line can change at any time. But it's not like chasing the endless conspiracies that this matrix puts forth. It's different in that there is the possibility that maybe it's almost like what do you call it? What did in War Games Stephen Falking created a password he could get directly into Joshua, a way to get in a backdoor. Remember, you had a backdoor password or something, and I guess the password was the name Joshua or something. It was a backdoor into the system, into the Whopper system. Maybe the Mandela effect's like a backdoor, a breadcrumb we left for ourselves, so we can really become convinced that this is some sort of a matrix. Although with the endless rabbit holes that were never solved, and we should be able to figure that out on our own. We don't need Luke, I am your father, or no, I'm your father, to fucking realize this is a matrix. The evidence is overwhelming, even if you don't even believe in the Mandela effect. But I don't know. It is interesting to think that could be the one breadcrumb potentially we left for ourselves. Most people watching this channel don't believe the atheist position that we're born in of carbon matter, and we just wander around here and we eat and sleep and buy and consume and piss and go to work and then die off, and that's it. We believe we've been here forever and we're going to be here forever, and maybe in other incarnations, other forms. But if that's the case, whatever you call you or your consciousness certainly was something before coming in here. It will continue to be something. Hopefully Dan at Overwatch channel thinks, we will be trapped and tricked to come right back into this three-dimensional hellhole. So preparing for traps and tricks, that's all. I like Dan at Overwatch. It's all good advice because nobody in the end really knows. I tend to believe more that um, we created this experience for ourselves to learn. To learn, you can't have the answers, you can't have the cheat codes, you can't really know what's going on. But it was taken and hijacked to a degree by the creatures, and what I'm saying. The people that appear on the news. The last element that I want to mention is very important. I don't know how many people are still with me at 40 minutes, and I don't know how to present this, but to me, it is even more evidence that we live in some sort of a matrix, because you have two things going on. You have your world of what you consider to be the most real. Getting up in the morning. Oh, this sock I was about to put on, I forgot. I spilled red wine on it and it kind of stinks. And the world around us. And then we have, like, the ruse of everything that we chase in this community. And everything we chase, everything we break down as being not real, or these people aren't who they say they are, and just the endless conspiracies, it's all out there. It's not through the television, but the television represents like a conduit of what's out there. And it's like, well, maybe everything that's out there is literally like, it's not real. It's a matrix construct, because everything we chase or we try to break down reality, it's not in front of us. It's not on our lap. And there seems to be a clear separation between what's out there and all the shenanigans and all the conspiracy and what politics is. And I would be much more inclined to believe that potentially what's out there could never even come into our little reality bubble. Because even in terms of Mandela effect, in my little reality bubble, I know I've had people say things have changed right in front of their eyes, but nothing like in my little reality bubble that's real changes. It's not like my wallpaper changed. I might be sitting watching a movie on my computer or on television and say that line changed. But then again, that's something out there that's coming into your reality bubble through a conduit into your reality or into your consciousness. Like a TV is a conduit of what's out there. So it is interesting. So I was going to say I would believe it's much more fake or defined, meaning what's out there is completely not real. I was in London once, and literally the Royal Bentleys rolled up to. We were seeing the Church of Saint, is it Saint Peter and Paul? Peter and Paul is maybe in Philadelphia. It's not St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican. It's the main one in London, and obviously it must be Protestant. It's all whatever. So the royals rolled up in their Bentleys, and I think the Queen Mum, when she was alive, I think I did I see her. Anyway, in other words, this was like it was the only time one of these creatures ever was in my real reality bubble. And if that didn't happen, I would almost think, well, maybe nothing out there is real, because it never enters. Look around where you are now. Does anything you ever chase or anything you've ever researched in this never-ending conspiracy, reality junkie, checking out one rabbit hole after another, does anything ever enter your real space? Or is it just something they're presenting as reality that comes through a magazine or a newspaper or through the radio or through the television, through a conduit or one of the tunnels into your reality bubble? See what I'm saying? So they're masters at controlling this all the world's a stage, all the world's a play. And if it wasn't for that one experience where I was out in the street and there's I don't know, Queen Mom or some other creatures got out of their Bentleys, I was like, okay, well that's no longer out there. Like that's We're here existing in the same space, me and the creatures. See, I don't know if I'm presenting this right, and I'm a little bit gone from talking so long, but there is something to this. Our reality, our reality bubble, the things we interact with, the things we can touch, the door we open going into work. I mean, even of course, all of this could, I leave on the table, is all a matrix illusion. Of course, that's on my table right now, but there seems to be another layer to it, and all the shenanigans that come through the television, and all the shenanigans that come through a history book, and all the stuff that ridiculous things like human beings not having any idea what our history is past 3,500 or 4,000 years. I mean, completely ridiculous. We should know our history back to 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years. It's a joke. I mean, it's a joke. So to me, that just proves not that men are in on it. It proves that, it even more proves this is a matrix. It's a limitation in the video game. The video game will have limitations. It can't explain if we are these immortal, genius, creator beings. The video game is not going to be good enough to satisfy us when we look closely. And that's why when we look closely at almost anything, it breaks down as bullshit, or whatever is officially presented to us breaks down as bullshit. Because the video game, or whoever's hijacked the reality video game, it's not good enough. If it was good enough, we would have a history. Past, past, you have Christ, and then you have the Roman Empire, and then the Greeks, and then the Egyptians, and who knows what the fuck happened before that. Matt, haven't you ever heard of the Sumerians and Mesopotamians? Yeah, it does. The Phoenicians. It does. Sorry, we should have a history going back maybe hundreds of thousands of years. And we have a history that goes back like literally 80 people. 80 people if they lived at the top of the mortality table. Ridiculous and in the extreme. Thanks for watching.